Okay, here we go. Paradox of Sports, episode 47. We've taken a few weeks off just because everybody has been busy. We have a very, very special guest, great interview Jack conducted coming up here shortly. But first, Jack, let's catch up. It's been about 3 weeks. You've wrapped up school, correct?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so what was kind of the end of the school year like?
Just field day and fun stuff.
Now, through the COVID and all the time you spent at home, was it still a sense of relief for the school year to end? Was that still there? Like, were you happy, or was it different from years past?
It was a little different. They didn't have as much stuff, but it was still pretty fun. And I had to leave like halfway into the day because we had to take my mom to the airport.
What do you mean by they didn't have as much stuff? What stuff are you talking about?
Usually we would have like a lot of stuff involving like water balloons and stuff, but they didn't have that this year.
Oh, I got you. So there was less celebration at the end of the year, more just you guys need to go somewhere else.
Yes.
Well, okay. So school's wrapped up. We're still hot and heavy in baseball, which we're going to get to after the interview. But somebody on this podcast threw a no-hitter. We'll leave people in suspense, and they can guess which one of us did it. We will discuss that after the interview when we come back. But baseball is still going hot and heavy. What else have you got going?
It's just baseball and then basketball camp this week.
Ooh, where do you do your basketball camp at?
CSU Pueblo. We finished the first day today. We've got a full day on Tuesday and half day on Wednesday.
How do you like the new court? I know they did a redesign for the first time. They even got Tundra down there in the corner, which I think is very good. And that's the mascot's name, right? It's Tundra?
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a Tundra logo down there in the corner. So are you guys is it still called Masari?
Yeah, it's still called Masari.
Okay, so were you guys at Masari on the new floor?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of it? How'd they do?
They did pretty nice. Whenever you can squeak your foot on the ground with regular shoes, not like Air Jordans or stuff, but with like regular shoes, you know it's a pretty good court.
Yeah, and that's what that's the hustle. That's how you can always tell big hustle sounds. A former guest, I don't even remember what episode it was, a couple episodes ago, Coach Traherne, his dad up in Kit Carson, if you were there and caught them at the end of a practice or something for a game, a lot of shoes squeaking. Coaches like to hear that. That's how you know, that's how you let them know, or you get them to think you're going hard, as you make those squeaks. So what was the first day of basketball camp what did it entail?
Yeah, we just worked on like learning stuff, like how to warm up correctly, we worked on dribbling and shooting and stuff like that.
Nice. Well,
that's and I was hitting threes,
man. Oh, were you? Now you need to work on other stuff though, and not just threes, because I'm telling you, that's the Steph Curry has ruined basketball, because I go and watch my niece and nephew there, Cash and Colt in Akron, and there's 8 and 9-year-old kids just jacking it up from 3 foot behind the 3-point line. Like, no, let's work on layups. Let's go. Do you guys still do around the world? Do you play around the world? Is that a thing still?
No.
You don't do around the world where you get the big, do you still have the big box out box and then the little dashes and then a free throw, each corner of the free throw, and then down the other side? So around the world doesn't exist anymore. We're all just shooting bombs.
Yeah, I still do layups and stuff. Like I've been, like a lot of my shots were swishes from the free throw line when we were playing knockout.
There's a reason
I almost won
free throws. The free
throw. The closest I got was third place.
Nice. What? Nice. And have you kept up with our bracket challenge for the trip? You're going to DC, right? Isn't that the trip?
DC and New York.
New York and DC. Okay, I'm trying to log in right now. I think I'm in last place, maybe. You would think
Yeah.
somebody that watches as much hockey as I do, I would have been a little bit better at predicting what happened, but
Yeah.
I
If
had
the
picked the
guy
Avs
named
to go
Love
all the
from
way.
Lockdown wins, I get to keep all the money.
Yeah, do we still Love from Lockdown? We still have no idea who that is, correct?
No, because
How did
we only paid for like 10 people, but there are 11 people in it, and the other guy's Love from Lockdown. We don't know who that is.
and he just got in. He just got in and got a bracket filled out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
He
man,
was
maybe.
winning for a bit, but then he just started not winning.
Let me see here where we're at here. In Jack's, New York, DC. Hold on. I want to see where's the standings here. Oh, right now Bannister's winning. So
Okay.
actually, Bannister's running away with it. He's at 103. Who's ATG?
My Aunt Terry.
Okay, so Aunt Terry is in second. The paradox of sports, all one word. Is that you? Or who's
No,
that?
that's you.
No, I'm Uncle Kevin.
I don't know who the paradox of sports is.
I think that's going to be a grandparent or somebody that when they signed up, they used that was the password to get in to get signed up for the league.
Yeah, they just used the password.
They just use the password there. I'm going to say
nobody get into it.
No, you can't. It's locked. That was just the password to sign up. So
yeah.
it's done.
Okay, thank God it's locked.
Yeah,
because
it's locked.
if it wasn't locked, we have like millions of people.
I'm in 8th. That is embarrassing for as many people on this list above me that I'm not sure how much hockey their children play. I'm going to assume mine have played the most hockey, and that's what I'm doing is embarrassing there. So that's okay. Wild and Canadians are playing right now. It's 3-1 Vegas. I don't know. I'm kind of cheering for the Islanders now just because, but I don't know how it's going to go. Did you catch any Nugget stuff? Did you kind of catch the Nugget series?
I caught like half a game, but I don't really want to watch them. They're disappointing us.
I think the biggest thing to take away from that, and it's kind of the same thing the Avs got in trouble with. When you're a general manager of one of these teams, when you're grown up, you got to realize like there was nothing the Nuggets could do with Jamal Murray getting hurt. And when you get to that point of the season, you got to have all your guys healthy. All your money that you've spent has to be on the floor. Murray not being there hurt us, and then the Avs having that Kadri guy's a punk. So, him getting suspended and us not having a defenseman, that killed the Avalanche. So,
oh yeah, like there's a mode in the NBA game that I play or played. It's called My General Manager. You get to control everything when you're being a general manager.
So you're building the team, and you have a what the hell is it called? That you have a salary cap and stuff like that. You have to stay within.
Yeah, or it doesn't get too complicated.
Okay, so is it like the NFL where it just like the salary cap doesn't matter? You can just keep putting them to next year, next year, next year.
Pretty much.
Gotcha. So, because that kind of seems to be what they're doing. Let me think. NFL wise, since we talked last, Aaron Rodgers is still not a Bronco. Do you think he'll be a Bronco, or who do you think starts the quarterback for Denver week 1?
Actually, my guess is Teddy Bridgewater, but unless okay, if Deshaun Watson gets into legal trouble, it's Teddy Bridgewater starting. But if he doesn't, it's gonna be Deshaun Watson.
I think Deshaun Watson is already in legal trouble. It's whether or not he can get himself out of legal trouble.
I bet he can do that.
I think that's he's got money. I think that's kind of what we're waiting on there. So yeah, and I know that's prior to all that happening, Denver was one of the spots. So that and maybe that's what the Rodgers deal is they know Denver's going to end up doing something there. So got a couple other things to chat with you about. We're going to do that after the interview. This Southeastern Colorado guy here. So if you want, why don't you go ahead and tell the folks what we have tonight.
Hey guys, it is Jack here on another interview for the Paradox of Sports podcast. I'm here with my dad taking over Kevin today.
Kevin's at work, so.
And today we're going to be interviewing the general manager for 1310 KFKA in Greeley, the host of the whole show, and the most famous radio personality from Shine Wells. Please welcome Brady Hull.
Hey, I don't know about that, but Jack, awesome to be on your show. I love what you're doing, man. I love your interviews. They're so entertaining. They're unlike anything else out there. Good for you, man. This is a lot of fun.
It is. What got you into broadcasting?
I've always liked sports. I've been a big sports guy. Your dad knows this. I grew up on a farm. We got like 2 radio stations we could listen to out there because signal was terrible. So I would be driving tractor, and after listening to Backstreet Boys for the 30,000th time, that's all we got. I finally just shut the radio off and started broadcast, just pretending to do my own radio show. Seriously, I'd sit in the tractor by myself and just do my own segments. And then I'd play Madden. You probably play some Madden, Jack. We'll get together and do that. I would mute the broadcast and just do my own broadcast. That's how I kind of got into it. I've wanted to do it since I was like in kindergarten, and that's it. Just love broadcast, love sports.
I sometimes do that myself as well.
It's a good thing, man. What you're doing now, what you're doing with Madden, I mean, those are great tools to help you progress in the broadcast world.
Who have you interviewed in the past?
Oh, we've interviewed a lot. I guess, we just had Ed McCaffrey on yesterday, the UNC Bears head coach and former Broncos great. So, I mean, we've talked to him. We had a Hall of Famer Brian Urlacher on not too long ago. That was kind of cool. We interview a lot of people locally up in Northern Colorado, CSU coaches and UNC CU coaches, getting Coach Darnell, Coach Boyle on. Those are great. So, yeah, I mean, we kind of just try to cover the gamut of Northern Colorado and just covering a lot of the colleges. And we get Denver media on quite a bit and some Denver assistant coaches and things like that.
What was it like being my dad's friend? Was he annoying?
Hey, he's just a little older than me, but no, man, I remember listening to him on the radio all the time too. Giddy Up. I loved it. I loved getting into it, man. And no, my sisters were very good friends with Matt too. So no, nobody ever has a bad thing to say about Matt. So I would definitely not go the annoying route. No.
Oh, if you dig deep enough, yeah, I'm sure you could find a few people, but no. Brady's sister Paige is in my class. Christina, good friends. T-Dub I was always a big fan of him, and Heidi. But probably one story I got to share is the experience of going to my very first Bronco game, and this was something I'll remember the rest of my life, because I went with your dad, WW. My first Bronco game.
Wild ride already right there.
I think I was around 12. Yeah, I was 12. And your dad took us all up. It was myself, your sister Paige, Holly Bogenhagen, Holly Mitchick, and then Travis Weaver. And we got to the game early. And this was at the old Mile High Stadium. So your access to the players was something that we're not used to now at Bronco games. We were so close at the old Mile High. You get there early enough, you're parked, there's players driving in, driving out. So we're getting autographs before the game, hanging out with the players. And it was just amazing because your dad's so patient, it was like we could have stayed there we could have camped out overnight just to hang out. And it was a great game. It was Elway's first game back from injury. It was against the Seattle Seahawks. And, we were in great seats. It was north stands, lower level, just an unbelievable experience. So we stayed around after the game, and I can't even tell you the autographs that we got. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And we're staying after the game, and we're just hanging out with Dennis Smith. Just hanging out with him, having a conversation. Everybody got his autograph, and your dad gives him a hat. Did he tell you this story?
No. But he
No.
always runs into players. It's amazing.
No. So we're hanging out after the game, just talking to Dennis Smith, and it was one of your farm hats with the brand and everything on it. I remember it was red, black lettering. You know, I can't remember the name of the brand. It was a 4W or
5 Heart
or 5 Heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was that hat. And your dad asked, he's like, hey, you know, would you wear one of my hats? And Dennis Smith was just like, absolutely. I love hats. And just like, you know, took your dad's hat. We're just hanging out, visiting with him afterwards. Nicest guy in the world.
That's
and then the top it all off, somebody's driving out of the stadium in a Lexus. It happens to be Elway. So I'm the only one that noticed this. And I take off running, and everyone's like looking at me like, what the hell are you doing? And I have my program, and nobody else caught this. And I saw it was him, and I stick it out. Come on, can I have your autograph? And he's like, oh, maybe some other time. And he's like, well, what about everybody else? I was like, there ain't gonna be another time. He's like, well, what about everybody else? I'm like, what about him? Flat out told Elway that. He signs a program with all the, you know, the players' faces and bios on it and everything else. And then he drove off into his Lexus, and everyone was like, who's that? I was like, that was Elway. Are you serious? So that was, you know, just an unbelievable experience that I'm going to remember the rest of my life. And that happened to be with your dad and your sister and Holly and
my dad always, and that's another thing. Jack had asked why I got into it. I mean, I remember going to games with my dad and my brother Travis all the time. And we would always luck into this. Being around my dad was like a good luck charm.
Yeah.
Players all the time. I didn't go with them, but this was before, I think I was a newborn or whatever. They went to a Nuggets game, and it was my dad, Travis, and I think Heidi, and they're sitting around the game late, you know, at the old McNichols, and Michael Adams comes out and basically just asks them if they want to come sit down in the locker room and tour it. And my dad's just hanging out with Michael Adams in the Denver Nuggets locker room. It's crazy. I'm in sports, and I never got the connections that my dad got. It's nuts. I have a story for you guys. This is a cool story. This is one of my favorite memories of going to a game. I went, you know, Miles Smith, one of my good friends at school, and we were at a Broncos game. We're sitting there. My dad went to get a beer, whatever, and we're sitting there, you know, 10, 15, 20 rows up on the 50-yard line. And this kind of short guy walks by, looks at me and Miles and goes, hey, do you guys want to go down on the field? I mean, we're probably 12, 13, something like that. And we're like, okay, that's cool. He goes, all right. So he takes off his pass. He looks up at his girlfriend or his wife and says, hey, give me your pass. So she comes down the steps. She gives Miles the pass. So now we got these passes, and he's like, yeah, just go down there. So we go down there. We're nervous the whole time. We're walking down to the field level, right? And it was the old Mile High, so they had the south stands. So we're walking down there. We're like, they're not going to let us on the field. This is crazy. So we go there. There's the security guy. We walk up to him. He looks at it and goes, oh, all right, where is Stevie today? And we're like, he's up there. They're like, okay, cool. Just don't cross the end zone and stay on the south side of the end zone. So we watched the whole first half. It was Broncos, Vikings. Randy Moss was still playing for the Vikings at that time. Wow. And Shannon Sharp was hurt. And so he's walking by us at halftime. You know, he's got a big old towel on his head. Doesn't give us the time of day, but a couple of players gave us high fives. And so anyway, we're like, all right, we better go back because my dad's probably freaking out. We've been down here the whole first half. So we go back and we sit down, and my dad's not there. Stevie's not there. That's what the guy's name was. So we're sitting there, and one of the fans behind us looks at us and says, you guys know who that was that gave you the pass? And we're like, no idea. They're like, that's the light heavyweight boxing champion of the world, Stevie Johnston. And we're like, what? That's crazy. And so anyway, my dad comes back. Stevie comes back. They grabbed a beer. They're talking. Stevie sits down and talks to us the rest of the game. He's like, yeah, I was out there with Randy Moss. He comes up. He's like, what's up, champ? So he invites us to his next match for free. We got in for free. My dad and brother went. We didn't go because we were playing in the league basketball tournament. I regret that decision because 8th grade basketball, I should have gone to.
Oh yeah, you should have bailed on that big time.
I know. So my dad goes, my brother goes, and Stevie lost. Unfortunately, he loses the belt that night. But that was a cool thing. And so what Stevie would do was just give out his passes to kids, and he'd try to find the parents and let them know what he was doing. But they finally put a stop to it later on. They said you can't be doing that. But he would just give his credentials to kids so they could go down and watch the game. That was one of the coolest memories. Yeah.
Crazy having that sort of access before you got into media. I mean, you're totally spoiled.
Dude, yeah. At that point, you're like, wow, this is amazing. And it's cool. It's fun. And that kind of stuff, going to games and getting autographs, all that kind of stuff just made me love the world of it even more. And so it's fun. I get to talk about sports all the time. I mean, it's a game, and it's a blast. But those kind of memories are definitely what kind of got it all started.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So did that answer your question as far as what got Brady into sports?
Yes, it did. All right, what do you do in your free time now?
Well, I have a 3-year-old, so I hang out with my son quite a bit. Free time, I like to still watch a lot of sports. I mean, it's watching games, hanging out with my family. That's good. I play Madden still. I'm still a video game guy. I like to play. I have a friend we play online, and we play against other people online, and I lose 90% of the time, but it's still pretty fun. But Jack, we'll have to hook it up, man. We'll have to get some Madden going.
What console do you play on?
Xbox One.
Dang it, I play on PS4.
Dang it. All right, well, I'm going to try to get a new one someday. So I'm thinking about converting, making the switch to the PlayStation.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. You play quarterback? Are you more a quarterback guy, or do you want to do like running back stuff?
I can play pretty much anywhere you want me to play.
You can be quarterback because I don't trust myself. I throw a lot of interceptions that always turn into touchdowns. So we need a good quarterback.
All right, now let's talk sports. Starting with the local teams, UNC Bears football, coached by Ed McCaffrey. They play the CU Buffs this season. What's your take on them?
Oof. I think that's going to be a blowout, unfortunately. I think the Buffs are going to run all over the Bears. But this is an exciting time for UNC. So KFKA, we're the voice of the Bears. And when they made the hire for Coach McCaffrey, I have never seen the excitement around football for UNC ever. Since I've been covering this team, since I've been around Greeley, there is a buzz, and it's cool. So, I mean, it's a neat thing that he'll be going up against CU for his very first game as a college head coach. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be close. I don't know how the Buffs will be. I don't know. I think last year was interesting. It was a good year for them, but I don't know how good they'll be. But, I mean, you're talking a Pac-12 team taking on, an FCS team. So I would imagine it's kind of a one-sided affair. But for at least the first 10 minutes, it's going to be pretty exciting around there. It's going to be exciting in Boulder.
And you bring that up, big school versus smaller school. Obviously, a lot of excitement, having Eddie Mack take over the reins of that program. I believe he's brought a couple of his kids in as assistants. Yeah. So that's certainly not going to hurt recruiting, whatsoever. So the buzz there, I mean, we'll be pulling for the Bears, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I always give you a hard time. You always talk about Northern Colorado. I was like, hey, we got a pretty good football team down here too in the CSU Pueblo Thunderwolves. And
that's true.
One of the greatest games that, we talked about this with Coach Riston and a few others, and even Morgan Fox when he was on, about beating the UNC Bears, the bigger school, the in-state football team. I wouldn't necessarily call them a rival. It's not like it's, Shadron or Mesa or anybody like that as far as the RMAC, but, always cool to beat up on that bigger school. So, hopefully the Bears can do that this year.
Yeah, about 4 or 5 years ago, UNC played them and played CU, and it ended up being a 20-point game, but it felt a lot closer than 20 points. So, I mean, it's possible. Dylan McCaffrey, transferred over from Michigan to UNC. I'm expecting him to be pretty good. I mean, he may only be here for the year to kind of build up his resume, but for that 1 year, we'll see. I mean, the UNC has not won a lot. I mean, the last 10 years, and I loved their last coach, Ernest Collins Jr., good man. They just couldn't get it figured out. I think he had 2 seasons of 6 wins. But other than that, it was 1 win, 2 wins, 3 wins. So yeah, if McCaffrey can elevate this school to at least 6, 7 wins, it's going to be huge. It'll be huge to the point where he might start getting looks from somewhere else. But we'll see. I mean, he's got 2 years of high school experience, so we'll see if that's enough to really get him rolling in Greeley.
Yeah, and all that experience as a player, and obviously knows Greeley from his years of Bronco training camp when it was here on the campus. Obviously, the facilities have changed night and day,
Yeah.
but Greeley's had that tradition of success. Winning 2 D2 national championships, and like you said, once they made that move up to D1. Subdivision, they just haven't had that kind of success and trying to get their their footing. So hopefully Eddie Mack can be the thing that turns it around. Maybe not overnight, but something to build on for sure.
Yeah, no question about it. We're pumped.
Next, we're going to talk about the Denver Nuggets, who are down 2-0 against the Suns in the Western semifinals?
Yes, sir. You got it.
Yeah. Do you think they're gonna come back, or is it gonna be a blowout?
If they were just down 2-0 and they were 10-point games, 5-point games, it'd be easier because you expect in the NBA playoffs, especially in the second round, you expect the better team to win at home. So it's a shock if the away team wins one of those. But the way they got beat last night, especially, certainly has me concerned. We're going to talk about that on the show today. Coach Malone's saying he feels like the team quit. Joker's not. He's saying the opposite. He's saying, I don't think anybody quit. So, boy, I wish I could tell you I think they will. The fan in me wants to say, oh, yeah, they'll win the next 2 games at home. But the Suns seem so deep. I'm not feeling good about it, my man. I'm not feeling good about it at all.
Phoenix just looks awesome.
It's unreal. They're deep. I mean, they're nobody's lighting them up necessarily. They just got a deep bench. They got a great team, and I've been counting them out all year, and they just keep proving everybody wrong. So it's going to take a perfect game from Denver. Will Barton's back. He's on a minute restriction. Like I said, the fan in me wants to say, yeah, they're going to win the next 2 games. But after last night, you get rocked like that. It's hard to see this team coming back, but we'll see.
It wasn't that the worst loss all season.
Yeah. I mean, it was over. Halfway through the third, it was done. So it's tough to recover from that. But it's that's what I like about the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, is one game can look so completely different than the other. And so if they come out and win tomorrow, in a big fashion, I mean, we might change our tune. We might say, well, maybe they can come back and do this thing.
Now, and then the Colorado Avalanche are also trailing in their series against Las Vegas. What's your take on the Avalanche and if they're going to be able to come back?
I think they're going to win tonight. I don't know that they go on to Game 7 and win. I mean, they were after Game 1. Didn't you guys? I mean, we were almost like, wow, what are the chances the Avs could sweep again? It's rare to sweep a team, let alone do it twice in a row. But then you saw Game 2, they win. But they still were outplayed. Grubauer was amazing. And without that, my gosh, I mean, sometimes in the playoffs you can play like crap, but if your goalie's on fire, then you're good. So really it feels like the Avs have been outplayed the last 3 games, and even in the one they won. So I do think they win tonight. I think that desperation factor, being at home, I think they find a way to do it. I don't know if they can go on to Game 7. I don't know if they can go to Vegas and win.
Yeah.
And now we're going to talk about the Colorado's Rockies baseball. Have we given up hope on them yet?
It's kind of bad when my goal for them is just to finish 10 games under 500. I feel like we're doing okay if they're 10 games under 500. So, yeah, this year is I don't even know how to explain this year. After the Nolan thing, I mean, you're just kind of hoping for some young talent to show some promise, but the way management has handled, I mean, there's signs that maybe Dick Monfort, the owner, is going to change things around and what he does. But yeah, as far as giving up hope, my hope for the Rockies is just, hey, try to finish 10, 15 games under 500 this year.
So what's Monfort going to do to change things? Sell the team?
I don't think he'll sell the team. I think he, moving on from Bridich, I think he's showing, all right, I'm gonna step back. I'm not gonna try to be Jerry Jones anymore. I'm gonna step back. want to hire baseball minds, let them take over. But I mean, that still has yet to remain to be seen, you know, and I guess we're going to find out what that new style looks like, but he's going to make it, to me, I think he's going to make it widely known that he's stepping back. He's not going to mess with anything. He's not going to come up with, you know, sign off on moves or anything like that. It's going to be 100% whoever the new GM is. And, but we'll find out. I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that he will do that. I still think he's going to want to dabble and make decisions and be a part of decisions, but we'll find out soon. I suppose we'll find out at the end of the year.
And the thing is, they're just, you know, from a business standpoint, they're not spending money.
Yeah.
Obviously, they got, you know, that Nolan trade was basically a salary down. They're making so much money because they always have a pretty decent attendance, top 10 in the MLB. I mean, alcohol consumption is at an all-time high. You know, merchandise, they're making money because they got the fan support as far as fans just wanting someplace to go and hang out.
Yeah.
That rooftop thing, you know, everyone's jumping up on that, and you know, they could care less about the game. They like the experience, they like the atmosphere. But as far as the diehard Rockies fans, people are fed up.
Yeah.
You know, you got to figure out a way to be competitive. You know, we had a good run making it to the playoffs back-to-back years, but just some of the decisions and things have gone into this organization. It's
tough. When you look at DJ, you know, it's kind of started there. And I think Dick Monfort's even talked about that in his presser after Nolan. I mean, he's still lamenting the fact that they let DJ get away, not paying him as much. And then he goes to the Yankees for the same amount that they offered, but can't you hook him up? I mean, DJ went on to be an amazing player too. So
yeah, unbelievable.
It's just decision like that over and over and over again. You know, wondering what's going to happen with Trevor Story. The rumor is, you know, do they move Trevor Story or John Gray? Well, those are two more of your really promising guys. Gray's kind of been up and down, but it's really tough to get 100% behind this team, and I get it, because every time a player does seem to get to that level, other than Nolan, they don't sign those big deals. They do take chances. They've taken chances with the bullpen in the past. They've all flopped, and then, you know, so it's tough because even when they do spend money, it fails because the bullpen, they were spending so much money on the bullpen 2 years ago, and every one of those guys ended up being a flop.
Well, and that even goes back to what was it, the late 90s, early 2000s, when they spent so much money on guys like Mike Hampton and Denny Nagel.
Yeah.
And then Hampton had a couple moments of brilliance, you know, one of the best hitting pitchers we had in, you know, probably in all of baseball at the time. Denny Nagel was a complete flop. So from that moment, I think they got a little gun shy.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
Those big deals, because we didn't see anything like that money wise until, you know, the bullpen, until the Nolan deal. It set him back several years, you know, from a standpoint.
Yeah. Well, and I'll be curious to see, like you said, with the diehard fans, when do they come back? Because there's so many that are over it, that are just the diehards are over it. And I wonder, is that going to be, you know, 4 years, 5 years when they finally feel, you know, getting over the Nolan thing? I mean, that's tough. That move is going to be considered one of the worst moves, I suppose, in Colorado history, probably Colorado sports history. And so for the diehards recovering from that, it's going to take some time.
Yeah. Jack still has his Nolan poster hanging up in his room.
Mm-hmm. Now we go to high school baseball, and they're doing pretty well. Windsor in 4A, and then Eaton and University in 3A. And the playoffs are coming soon. What's your take on high school baseball as of right now?
Yeah, we just started covering high school baseball about 4 years ago because it was just so good up here. So many amazing teams, and we thought, man, we're missing out. So Eaton especially. It's amazing every single year. They just continue to churn out awesome baseball. I always say it's cliche, it's something in the water, but baseball up here is big. It's one of our, you know, we cover a lot of preps. We do football, basketball, softball. But I tell you, baseball's been a pleasant surprise as far as listenership. So yeah, it's a wild scene up here. It's fun. It's a great time.
Dad, do you have anything?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the show that is named after you. The whole show.
The whole show. We got
You
the
know,
whole.
I've had the opportunities to host a sports talk show, but it was not named after me. So go into that some more. How the name? I mean, obviously you got a little bit of pull at the radio station, being the GM and all, but talk a little bit about the origins of where the whole show came from.
I mean, so we started out the show, we called it Sports Day when we first started it, and we got a sponsor on it. So it was Agfinity up here. So it was Agfinity Sports Day. Well, a good friend of mine that was on the board there, and he was the marketing guy. He moved on. And he basically said, dude, they're changing up how they're doing all their marketing. And so I said, I'm not going to wait on them. And actually I would get a lot of people that would say Agfinity Sports Day. Is that like ag sport, like rodeo? So we get some confusion there. So I said, I'm not going to go the name route anymore. I had always, growing up, we always played on my last name, the word hole. I always said, if I have a kid, I'm not going to name him anything with an A, because on the roster, it might say a-hole on theirs. So we always messed with that. We had fun with it. My sister Paige, I remember when she was at the doctor's one time, or the hospital, and we go to her room, and on the name tab on the front, it was P.hole. So it said P hole. And it was just, there's so much you can do with it. So we were like, let's do the whole show. We talk a lot of sports. We don't just talk Broncos or Nuggets. We talk kind of the whole picture. So we thought we'd have some fun with that. We came up with all the listeners, the diehards that listen to the show. We call them hooligans instead of hooligans. So that was the main thing. We just have a lot of fun with it. And I thought, man, that would be a perfect combo there. Play on the word, plus some marketing for the whole name. So it all worked out.
Oh, that's awesome. So how can folks out, obviously, 13 AM 1310 KFKA up in the Greeley area, be able to catch you, but for some of the folks that aren't in that Greeley area, how can we hear you?
Yeah, so we're online. We podcast everything. But you can listen and go to 1310kfka.com, and there you can listen live to all of our stuff. We're on the TuneIn app. We podcast everything as soon as it's done. So whatever you're using for your podcast, Spotify, iTunes, we're on all those. So we're trying to grow on that side of it as far as making the programs available to everybody. So it's pretty easy to listen to us. You can listen to us all over the world if you get online or just on your phone.
Awesome. Jack, you got anything as we wrap this one up, buddy?
Mm-hmm. What was the greatest moment of your broadcasting career?
Ooh. Well, we did win. You know what? We won the best talk show in a major market last year. And that was kind of cool for us. My producer, Colfax, kind of elevated the show. Once he came on board, it was big. So I would say that's probably up there. Interviewing guys that I grew up watching or idolizing, going down to Denver Nuggets camp and talking to Nikola Jokic. I mean, those are pretty cool moments too. But kind of winning an award was a big deal. And hopefully we can win another one. We just got the one, and we've been doing the show a while. So I gotta keep gunning for one of those, but I'd say that's up there.
Obviously, well deserved, and hopefully you can get a few more of those to display in that trophy case of yours. So, Brady Holt, General Manager, KFKA, and the host of the whole show. Thank you so much for taking the time to connect with us here on the Paradox of Sports.
Man, I love it. And Jack, you guys, this is a great thing that you're doing. I'm excited to see it grow. You guys just let me know anything I can do to help get the word out. I'd be happy to. I love it. I think it's awesome.
All right. We want to thank Brady for the time. He mentioned a little bit of the play and the fun stuff they do with his name. I'm not sure if once a hooligan, always a hooligan. I did participate quite a bit in the Top Text Tuesday, even won that a couple times. So it's your Uncle Kevin McAllister. I was a part of that deal until something happened and it got blocked. There was an issue with us and that the way we were streaming that, at work. So that has been blocked, and our cell phone repeaters kind of went away, and we were no longer able to text with anything that had Samsung in the text thread. So that was that for me and my experience with the whole show. But him and Colfax did a great job, do a great job. So he gives away a lot of good prizes and is building a good base and good program there in Greeley. So before we get out of here, we teased it before. Folks are going to be shocked to learn this, but it was actually you that threw the no-hitter. So I got to ask, first off, did you know you had thrown a no-hitter when the game was over?
No, I threw it. I knew I threw a no-hitter.
Okay, so when the game was over, you realized that you had not given up a hit.
Yeah, or I realized like before it, like, yeah, because I realized like before the game ended.
Gotcha. So break it down. So I know there was some walks, a wild pitch. There was actually runs scored, none of which were earned. So kind of break down the game. What do you remember from it?
I remember throwing, I think it was a perfect first inning, and then I walked 2 people the second inning because I was throwing fastball, changeup, and curveball. And third inning, I walked 1 more person and then let the wild pitch get out of the way. And I don't remember what happened the rest of the innings.
Gotcha. So now were you batting in this thing too?
Yeah. In
Okay.
league play, the pitch, everybody bats.
Gotcha. Okay, so there's no DH when you roll through. I have it. Your dad tagged me in it. I just have not had the chance to sit down. Probably tomorrow evening. I might even throw it up on the big screen and sit and watch the game just to see. So was that start to finish the bet? And this, you went 7. Was that a 7-inning deal?
No, it was like 4 or 5 because
Okay, 5.
they called it due to mercy rule.
Gotcha. So you guys put a
12-1 win.
Nice. So did you feel good? Like, did you feel good? Did you feel comfortable? You know, I know early we hadn't really talked about it. I had talked about it some with your old man on you were doing good facing 3 to 5 guys. And then there was kind of an issue after your 5th batter where some stuff started to get away from you. It sounds like the last 2 or 3 times out, you've put together 3 or 4 solid innings. Is that something, have you worked on that?
I've been trying to work on just pitching in general. I'm just trying to get around the batters. I'm just trying to throw strikes because I trust my infield and outfield.
And that's absolutely right. I saw some of that even, and it doesn't matter baseball, softball. I watched some of the which was phenomenal this weekend. The Women's College World Series, dude, Oklahoma softball team was phenomenal. But
yeah, somebody threw a perfect game.
Yeah, no, the perfect game was the girl Fouts from Alabama.
Oh,
and
yeah.
She was tough, but I think from the pitching standpoint, she was kind of all they had.
Yeah.
Damn, it might have been Alabama that I watched. It was somebody against Oklahoma. I don't remember now. I thought it was on their Big 12 school. Hell, they couldn't throw a strike. And the girl, they just walked and then, single to right field scores 2. And it's important. Excuse me. You are correct. Throw strikes, put the ball over the plate, make them hit it where someone's not. Trust your infield. It's a lot better than walking.
And all of the walks were on 3-2 counts.
Okay, so they worked you full, and then you went the full thing, and they just and that happens sometimes too.
Yeah. So basically, if 3 balls turned to 3 strikes, I would have thrown a perfect game.
Oh, that'd be awesome. You'll get one.
And I picked one of the runners off.
At what base?
So basically, the team had, I think it was the girl on the team, because the team had both boys and a girl. So I went to step off the base. She had a lead like right in between second and third, and then she just went to third, threw her out.
Got him, and it was done.
Yeah. But the but one batter scored and then one I left on base. I think. Yeah.
I cannot remember where I went and watched baseball at here recently, and the kid, he kept balking, trying to step off the rubber. I don't remember what game that was.
I think one of the coolest pitchers I've ever seen is this guy from Virginia named Steven Schock. He
Okay.
like when he does it, he literally looks like a vampire doing this.
Oh,
Then he
yeah.
comes in and throws a sidearm.
They were talking about him on where did you say he was from?
He was from the University of Virginia.
Gotcha, because that's McAfee went to West Virginia. So they were,
Mhm.
I think they were talking about that guy today. Yeah, his very, very unusual windup and everything, and the way he approaches that. What was the guy that he played? He was for the Braves. I don't know who he's at now, but he puts his arm.
Craig Kimbrell.
Yeah, Craig Kimbrell sits there and holds his arm and just sort of dangles it out there like that. That was another cool one. Those guys were crazy. So the closers and those guys that have the unusual cool little rituals they do before they get the ball and throw a pitch.
Basically, my ritual is that it's a little weird, but I have the glove on my shoulder.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I'm like having like a straight stance. So I'm like this.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Gotcha. More straight up and down.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, last thing, and we'll get out of here. I know just from, first of all, how is McAfee? Have you had a chance to watch McAfee any on the Friday nights on SmackDown?
Yeah.
I
saw him commentate.
How do you think he's doing?
Decent.
Decent. Okay, so he's not knocking it out of the park, but he's not sucking it up.
Yeah.
Do you think
like every commentator?
Do you think
except for like the legends like Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler?
Now, do you like the guy that he's working with? Who's the main play-by-play guy on Friday nights? What's his name?
I think it's Michael Cole.
Yeah. Do you like Michael Cole?
Yeah. He's
Okay.
one of the legends too.
Gotcha. Okay. So he's in that legend status. So one of the things McAfee was talking about today is he is excited to get back inside of full stadiums. Do you think Pat will do better when there's a real crowd there?
Our games are always with a crowd.
Gotcha. So you're liking it more when there's a crowd.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. Last thing, wrestling wise, what happened with Rey Mysterio? And something happened with his son.
Here, let me look it up because I saw like the end of that.
Okay.
Rey,
Because that happened with Roman Reigns, right? Something with Roman Reigns?
Yeah, something with Roman Reigns. Okay. I want to figure that out. I searched up Rey and Dominic Mysterio. Okay, so it's gonna be Roman Reigns will take on Rey Mysterio at Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
And all right, I'm gonna look at this because all right, so Reigns takes him out and oh, I don't know.
Okay. I'll have to do some research. And I was waiting to see if you knew to have you kind of explain it to me to get, you're my wrestling go-to. So I will do some looking up and figure out kind of what's going on. But I know there was something, not the boy got involved somehow. And I guess it wasn't.
Yeah, he hit him with a kendo stick.
Ooh, what is that?
It's like this thing. It's like a stick, but when you hit it, the stick opens and closes, and it like rips at your flesh. So it hurts like crap.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very good. So, okay. Well, you got more basketball camp and then more baseball games, I assume, this weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, and we are within, where are we at here? It's June 14th. We are taping this June 14th. It'll post on June 15th. So we are within a week, I'm an idiot. We are within a month for the first time since we started this thing. You and I are going to see each other face to face because you will be up in the Black Hills for Morgan's wedding. So we're going to actually do some fun stuff together. Probably play some horseshoes, some cornholes, and we are going to teach you how to wake surf. That'll be the big one. We're going to make sure you learn how to wake surf.
I want to learn how to wake surf.
Oh, dude, it's easy. I can do it. So I can assure you, you can do it. So, well, and that stuff we're gonna tape that. We'll get that out, and we'll have some fun here. We'll do another episode, I'm sure, before you guys come up. But if not, then that'll be the next one. Is you and I face to face in the Black Hills of South Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
Sound good?
Yay.
Cool. Thanks again, Brady Hull, for taking some time out and chatting with the guys tonight. And Jack, if you want, go ahead and get us out of here.
All right. That's it for this week's edition of the Paradox of Sports podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or wherever you find the Paradox of Sports. That's the name, if you can see it. And be sure to comment down below who your favorite NBA player is, because I have something to do with that basketball camp, because I'm wearing a Nikola Jokic jersey to camp tomorrow.
So is this favorite right now or favorite all time?
Either. You can, right. I guess favorite all time.
Favorite all time. Put it in the comments.
Yeah.
Perfect. Good job, dude.